Hello! Are we recording? Yes? Yes? Okay. So, a lot to cover, so I'll do my best to make it quick. How's it going? No, not that. I want this. Yes. So, what we have, I'll show you what I did first, real quick. We'll go simulate this in the selected viewport. No. Play, simulate. So, I got these types of little jet bunnies, and then they all swarm down, and then as they come down here, then we have this lower layer show up, and then lasers! Ignore the lasers as best you can, but these lower ones, they swarm around and they actually follow, well actually all of them follow the trajectory that they're flying in, and they have these little motors, they go blip 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 blip. So they actually fly along in the direction they're supposed to. They are all wholly particle based, but here's what it looks like from VR. So if we're looking up, we start to see them collect, and then we start to see the big vortex up at the top swirl around, and then as they come down, then this bottom swirly amount of them starts to show up, and then lasers at some point. Lasers. Yeah, it usually works. For some odd reason, of course, when I went to go show it off. Anyways, at this point, lasers normally are supposed to start shooting in. And yeah, this is for the last phase of the game, when the user's supposed to feel completely overwhelmed and they're just being attacked in every direction. And, you know, obviously there's probably about 20,000 of these little guys on screen right now at once. And so, yeah, let's see, can I get closer to them? Nope, I guess only in the little simulate thing. So if I go, let's see, simulate, there's the ones up high again. But anyways, and they come down, and then the vortex starts, and you can see they little bunnies flying around with little jet engines, and they're pretty cool. Yeah, and there goes the lasers, of course. Well, know that from first person's perspective, or from the VR helmet, the lasers kind of look normal. From the outside, they look janky as heck, but on the inside, they look cool. So, that was pretty much the most relevant thing I did over last week. So now onto the things that will help you guys and gals. So first up, notice how I got this VR preview window now with the two spheres. That actually looks right. The way you do that is you what is it? You can set a console command. Well, at first I thought you could set a console command. So when your level starts in your blueprints, let's see, open level blueprints. Yeah, it's kind of like the stereo on. I thought you could also do a console command that said window mirror mode 0 or 1 or 2. Or 3 or 4. Turns out those are only for the Oculus. And if you do that when you're working with a Vive, it permanently, well, not so permanently, but mostly permanently breaks it and makes it go to a black screen when you try to do a VR preview ever again, if you try to do the Oculus commands. So instead, what you have to do is edit a certain file and change some variables in there to actually make it work right. I'll have those in the links below in the comments and such. So if you need to know about how to get your Vive to show a proper after window, or instead of that little thin line, just hit up the first in the links below and you'll find it right there. Next up was oh yeah, and those fixes were provided by Mamoniem and UKdude, so thank you. Oh, and Casid. Yeah, so thank you all. And then I had a packaging issue. Steve Hardister, thank you for that. Let's see. What else was there? Mesh instancing. So if you're trying to have, for example, this amount of bunnies flying around, and my initial theory was to have a particle system, or my initial theory was to just create a lot of bunnies. That's way too system intensive. And then my idea was to, here we go, to have a particle system that generates all these bunnies, and then a mesh instancer that can you put one of these little jet bunnies at each of those particles location. That also is too system intensive. So instead, in the end, had to go with generic particles. But just so you all know, if you need to make, like, the example I found was an asteroid belt, something that has, like, 10,000 of these one geometry, and they can be really high polygon and detailed. You just use mesh instancing is the key word you're looking for. And then I found this really cool flocking video by what is it? Joe Wintergreen. Let me see if I can look it up real quick. Mr. Joe. Oh yeah, there it is. Joe Wintergreen here. He has this really awesome video, and he also supplied the links to his source. I'll provide the links again also down below, but it's a really easy to understand Unreal script. As he says in the script, it's not super optimized, but it does give you some pretty cool results for flocking. I had to go a different result because of the sheer number I wanted, but this is a great start for people who want some easier to understand flocking mechanics. So yeah, there's that. And again, that's Joe Wintergreen. Thank you. And then, oh yeah, in order to get my particles to look right, let's see, where's this one? No, this one, yes. If I say simulate, why would it not want to work suddenly? Oh, is it because this is already simulating? Possibly. Let's see here. Come on. Behave like you're supposed to. Oh, there it goes. Alright, I'll turn this cube on. So, I needed these bunnies to be vacuumed towards a specific point. So, I tried putting in the particle system over here. I tried putting what is a orbit, and orbit does not work. The orbit, what it did, there was a major problem, is you see right here is the bunnies just using their own trajectory, and they have a trail going, and because that's where velocity actually sends them. Now orbit, when you use orbit, they do go around in circles the way I needed. However, it's just an offset to their mesh. It's not actually moving the particles. It just says, okay, particles are here, offset them this amount. So suddenly if you have anything like a tail or anything, it all becomes detached because the particle isn't actually over where you think it is. It's actually over here, but the orbit is just offsetting them. So know that about orbiting. It kind of works, but not fully. The way I found around it was via this, which doesn't want to start properly, but I can at least show you. I have particle systems here, 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 here. Just basically a big circle of particles in here. And what's going on, let me turn this on so you can see it. Visible? There. Okay, so now if I say simulate, you see I'm rotating the particles. I'm actually, well, not only just rotating them, but making it go up and down. So I'm just rotating this entire default scene route of this actor. So all the particle systems are rotating. And then I also added an oscillation to make it go up and down. So the bunnies, they're spawned as the particles are going around, and then they start chasing the vertex point that they're trying to gravitate towards, or what's it called? It's called a point attractor. Yeah, so in here there's a point attractor, and that is what is spinning around in here at the center of these particle systems. So that way, let me just delete this cube. When we say play out here, and when they all start coming down. So this vortex one has the sky one has a point attractor in the middle. This vortex one has a point attractor, or a bunch of point. Let me turn the lasers off again. Has a point attractor down here at the bottom, or a bunch of them that are spinning in a circle. And this bottom of the vortex one, it is these guys down here have a bunch of vertex points that all the bunnies are circling around, or that they're trying to catch up with. So they're actually orbiting in front of these bunnies. That's why you can kind of make out packs, because these little packs of the bunnies are actually at the vertex points that they're trying to get to. So yeah. Anyways, that's those. The lasers are so intense. And also to create that rotation, let's see, what do we got going in the event graph? So to create the spinning motion, I just have a timer set so that every 0.1 clocks on the game, it rotates the world. It just does an add world rotation, and to the default scene route, add 5 units. So it just goes tick 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 like a second clock. And then the oscillation, it's every 2 seconds. It's gonna spin 2 seconds on this timeline. This timeline is 2 seconds long, so it's every 2 seconds it's gonna go through this oscillation, and it's gonna lerp between -4 on the Z and +4 on the Z. So the whole thing goes like this, causing those bunnies to also have some varied up-down motion. Because the particle systems are doing this up and down, that means they're all vertex that they're seeking is also doing that. So you're going to end up with some nice varied motion as they circle around the player. Next up, there was orbiting particles. Oh, and how to keep emitters alive while they're on screen. What you do to do that is you click out here in a particle system, click out here into nothingness, and then go down to bounds and turn on this use fixed relative bounding box. And let's see if, yeah, so you can see this one. So as long as you're inside this bounding box, or your view, your camera, whatever, is inside this bounding box, then all the particles in there will keep functioning. Whereas normally, if you looked away, and once your angle of view moved away from the particle enough, then those particles would turn off. So this way, with bounds, you can keep them turned on. Even when you look around, they won't disappear. And that's it. That's all the helpful stuff I think I got for y'all. Again, all that stuff, links below. But as far as what I did, so first I got the mirror thing fixed. Messed around with it a lot. Things broke. Things did work, didn't work. I still have a compiling bug that I'm trying to fix. But hopefully that's a lovely fella named what's his name? Well, somebody wrote me a response on how to fix it. Yes, Steve H. So Steve H, thank you. Haven't gotten to dig into it yet, but I'm still trying. So anyways, yeah, I got to fix a compiling error. Oh, I tried implementing bunny screams, and so when you shoot them, they go flying. They go, ee! But as it turns out, no. Too much noise going on already. Decided to cut that out. Tried all the various types of jet bunnies, and then ended up going with the particle bunnies. And again, they're just going to show up when either's on the last tail end of the game, and you're like, I'm overwhelmed. So yeah, that was this last week. Got a lot done. Fidgeted with the mechanics of the normal bunnies too. Got the big ones hitting harder. Got them worth more points when they die. What else? Yeah, tried all sorts of different things to get these massive numbers of these bunnies to actually, you know, come in like this, and every single attempt out of many was a failure. But you learn from your mistakes, because there was just too many of them. The resources just got wrecked. So by using these as a particle system and just making them feel like they're coming in and attacking you, you know, it gives the impression, and it does the trick, because that's what I was looking for. And they all said fly in the right direction. Their little motors go blink, 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 and of course, come real game, they're going to be much more detailed. Oh yeah, because at this point in the game is when you've killed enough, and those UFOs flying around out there are going to just start spraying these big white particle effects everywhere, and the queue at that point is going to be like, what's going on? And then you look up and you'll see them, and then you'll see all these little bunnies start coming down at you, and that's when stuff starts to get crazy. Oh, see, I didn't quite apparently get this. See, if I look up here, and the particle's too far off screen, and they come back, and they all are like drifting off on their own. Oh, it's because if I was here, it would be fine, but because I'm over here, I am able to look away and have things start to break. But normally you're just going to be right here, right in the middle of it all. So, anyways, yeah, that was this week. Is everything still recording? Yes. Oh yeah, Christmas coming up next week. Yeah? Yeah, so it'll be Christmas, or holidays. Happy Hanukkah, Christmas. Which one? Kwanzaa? I don't know. All the various holidays, New Year's. I respect your religions. Yes. Or non-religions. Whatever. Anyways, happy, hopefully, time off. And if you're working, I'm sorry. So anyways, hope everybody enjoys the next week. Next week, I'm done with all my types of enemies, so I get to start on weaponry. So different, need 2 other types of weapons compared to the ones I have right now, because the ones I have right now, let's see, what are they? They are, is it working? This guy, you know, we're familiar with that. So, anyways, yes, next week, weaponry, or at least a new type of weapon, and phases, and, yeah! So, anyways, hope everybody has a lovely next week. And thank you all for following, those who are, and if anybody makes it to the end of the video, you stuck around for so long. Yes, so thank you for following and watching, and it means a lot that people care, because it's just nice. Anyways, yeah, enjoy the next week, and I will talk to you next Monday, Sunday, Tuesday, somewhere around there. Anyways, yes, enjoy. Peace.